Hello, and welcome to the Town Administrator Update for the month of June. Our chance to talk with Burlington Town Administrator Paul Sagarino about all the things happening here in town. Paul, thanks once again for coming in and taking some time.
Thank you, Rich. It's always a pleasure to be here.
So I guess, just looking at summertime, I don't know if things are slowing down or getting more busy, but well, what kind of, things are we working on as far as, different projects happening in town?
Yeah, summertime, Burlington's a busy place, so it's just as busy as every other time of the year, if not more so, particularly from the construction end of things. But like I say, it's great to get through town meeting and sort of enjoy the nice weather a little bit until we get to September, start working towards that town meeting. I'm assuming you want an update on some of the projects we have
Yeah, I know
ongoing?
there's some capital projects that, are in the works.
Sure. I just the DPW facility. We just had an opportunity to tour that about a week ago. It's coming along amazingly. It's on time and it's on budget currently. I think that we anticipate a fall opening, perhaps November 1st.
Okay.
The construction folks are telling us Labor Day, but we're a little bit more conservative, understanding how there's a possibility of delays between now and then. But I think it's going to be a facility that we can really be proud of, and to really protect all the town's valuable equipment, keeping it indoors, and to provide a first-class facility for Public Works employees to be working in. As anybody who's toured the old facility knows, it was totally inappropriate place for people to be working on a regular basis. So
Yeah.
I'm really happy and very grateful to town meeting for funding that project.
Yeah, I remember taking a tour of it with your predecessor, Mr. Petrin, and it was pretty rough.
Yeah, I mean, it was quite a bit old, 1940s or something like that. So we get our money's worth out of our buildings. We use them far beyond their useful life, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Excellent. Well, that'll be good. November will be in time for, getting the vehicles and other equipment in there before the snow falls, hopefully.
Yeah, and it really is a great, we have some trucks that are over $200,000, and, under our current circumstance, we're unable to, they're being stored outside. So we all know what rain and weather can do to expensive things stored outside. So we should be able to start extending the life of our trucks and equipment as well by being able to garage them indoors outside of the weather.
Excellent. And I know there's also progress being made with the connection for the MWRA.
Yep, the MWRA water connection project is ongoing. Construction is primarily in Lexington, and we're very grateful to the support we've received from our neighbor in helping us complete that project. But it is ongoing. I think the MWRA is working from sort of the Arlington and our way, because they had a portion of the line that they were going to complete, and we're working from Adams Street down Lowell Street, I believe, is the street in Lexington towards Arlington. So as far as I know, everything's going well, and it's being worked on every day. And unfortunately, our neighbors are dealing with some traffic detours in that area due to our project. But
Right.
It will bring some benefit to the Lexington water system as well.
Okay, well, that's good. And I'm actually going to be taking a tour of it next Wednesday with Mr. Sanchez from DPW, so people can stay tuned and get a view of it that way. And how about the PFAS filters over at the
Yes.
water treatment plant?
So the PFAS project, I'd like to tell people it's probably the fastest moving construction project in the town's history. We got alerted to the contamination issue within the water, and town, again, very grateful for town meeting we came up with a solution very quickly, got it funded. It's under construction as we speak at the Mill Pond treatment plant, so perhaps you can get a video of that next week as well. But we hope to have the new filter in place by December.
Wow.
That will take the PFAS out of the water at the Mill Pond plant. So it's really coming along, and my understanding is it's coming along according to schedule and on budget as well. So we're, again, very grateful to town meeting for their continued support for all these important initiatives.
And it's almost surprising because I remember when the situation kind of first arose, there was a concern that because the state standards changed and there was going to be a ton of communities that were suddenly over the limit, that it might be difficult to get those filters if everybody ordered them at once.
Yeah, we did some very forward-thinking ordering. So we knew the project as soon as we had the ability, the funding source in place. We ordered the filters, separate from the bidding of the construction part of the project to build the new sort of building that it'll be housed in. So that's kind of unusual. Normally you would include everything into the same documents, but
Right.
we basically got a head start on actually ordering the filter material. And so that gave us a little bit of a leg up in getting this thing online sooner than we would have, and maybe a little bit ahead of some other communities as well in terms of ordering filters like that.
That's great. And also, I mean, there's always these construction projects being on time or ahead of schedule. It's also, we keep hearing about the supply chain problems and things like that. So it seems like pretty fortunate that we're not being impacted by that kind of
Well,
situation.
I like to say fingers crossed as of this point, and I think many of those projects were bid out and contracted prior to the conditions that are the really
Right.
bad conditions that are going on now. So I think we're a little bit fortunate on the timing. I think if we were going out to bid on a project right now, we'd be dealing with a significantly different scenario.
Yeah, probably. And something that came up at a recent meeting, the town is going to be receiving some funds from, is it a settlement, a resolution? Explain the situation.
Sure. What you're referring to is there was a class action lawsuit against the pharmaceutical companies that were deemed responsible for sort of starting the opioid crisis. And early on in the process, the town signed on to those class action lawsuits. They were eventually sort of what they call enjoined into one case, so everybody was combined across the country in terms of doing that. And then further, state attorney general's office took a lead on it too and participated in the lawsuit on our behalf. And we've finally been notified very recently that the town is going to be awarded approximately $670 some odd thousand dollars over a period of time, which works out to be between $35,000 and $50,000 a year, which we will be able to determine how best to use. But the guidelines require that we supplement what we're already doing to help people with addiction, to help the police department in referring people to services. So internally, and there's probably be an opportunity to provide some of that funding to the school department for drug education and things of that nature. So we're in the exploratory period right now where we're trying to figure out how to best utilize these funds. As you know, we were already really taking a really strong approach to mental health. We've had a mental health clinician on the police department for a while. We also have a couple substance abuse coordinators that work with our police department, and sort of the goal is there. If rather than arresting somebody, if we're aware that somebody has a problem, we can try to get them the help and services they need, so that hopefully they won't be, a problem for law enforcement going forward. And as you also know, we also, as a community, we're very strong in providing mental health services through our Youth and Family Services Department. Across the state, many communities don't offer quite as vibrant a service as that, and they sort of rely on state government to provide mental health services. But again, through the very generous funding and very forward-thinking forefathers of the town, we actually have our own department to assist folks and families in town who may be going through a difficult period and need some assistance.
Yeah, and you mentioned the police department having a clinician now, and we actually just featured her, Karen DiRienzo, in a Who Works for Burlington segment that people can find on our website, and sort of like get a better look into what a police department clinician does. Yeah,
it's just another example of a police department is very forward-thinking, and we've been on the cutting edge of national, best practices for many years now. So, by having a clinician on staff, I think we were, again, ahead of many communities and many departments in the state. I think everybody's sort of working towards that now, but we've been doing it for years now, and she provides a great benefit to the community.
Definitely seems like it. And I guess last thing, people are coming down to the town center area. They're going to notice some changes to the sculpture park coming up.
Yeah, that's believe it or not, the first 2-year trial period is up. Yep. So it's time to sort of evaluate the existing sculptures, and I believe that the Sculpture Park Committee has already gone through a process of picking new sculptures to move into the park. So they consider the park to be sort of a training ground. I do believe that there's at least one sculpture, Follow the Heart, that is going to be moved over to the Common. The board approved that the other night, sort of near Havoc the dog. And as you're aware, the community very generously pulled together some funding for I call them the yellow cherries, but
Yes. Climate change
sculpture with the Ukrainian sculptor, and provided the funding to purchase that one. I'm not sure exactly what their intentions are in terms of where that may be placed within the town, but I think they got a good plan. I think the park's been a big success, and I'm near that area frequently, and there's always people in there walking around, families with children, people of all ages are really enjoying the park. And I did get a sneak peek of some of the upcoming sculptures that are going to be placed in there over the next month or two, and they're pretty exciting and different from the other ones. So I think it's going to be pretty cool to see. And I like the idea that it just constantly, changes, so it's not, stagnant, and people will be coming up there to check out the new sculptures, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, and the Sculpture Park Committee is being pretty hush-hush about what's coming up. They purposely didn't have it part of their presentation at the meeting, so they wouldn't be on television. Yeah,
it's kind of great. The different sculptures appeal to different people, so clearly I'm sure some people look at some of them like, hey, that doesn't appeal to me, but this one does. And so it's very subjective, and I really like the batch that are coming in this year. They sort of appeal to me, so I'm looking forward to see them put in place.
Yeah, and it just shows, what citizens who are passionate about something can do. Because I remember when the Sculpture Park was just, pretty obvious Photoshop, photos, with superimposed that John Sachs put together, and now, it's already 2 years in, and new sculptures are on the way.
John's been really been a driving force behind, improving our cultural options in town. So I give him a lot of credit. He's a hard worker. He's very, very diligent, and he doesn't give up on something once he sets his mind on it. And once he came up with the idea, a lot of other citizens and residents got involved and made it a reality. So it's really exciting.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, I like to end on a nice positive thing like that. So thank you once again for coming in. Enjoy, these nice summer days while you can, and we will see you next month.
I'm looking forward to it. Thank you, Rich.
Thank you.